Welcome to this edition of Get to Know Your Wayne State football program for the 2024 season. I'm Sports Information Director Jeff Weiss, and joined today by defensive backs coach Antwon Robinson. I'm going to have to add the recruiting coordinator. When I'm looking down this and I see like 10 DBs, obviously it helps being the recruiting coordinator too. 12 new guys coming in. Let's start with last year. You had some injuries in the secondary. Technically no returning starters, but you've got a lot of guys with experience back there. Braden Verdeveld, Elijah Folks, Anthony Watt came on as a true freshman last year. Chris Gillum played in 22, missed last year with an injury. What do you expect from that foursome this year?
To be the guys. Braden coming off some injuries when I first got here to being able to be our starter this spring, right? Braden is going to be big for us. Kind of set some goals for him. We went through that stuff. Elijah Folks, who was the freshman of the year for us in 2022, he's finally developed to where he should be right now. He'll be making a switch to some safety this year. Anthony Walker, who was the defensive freshman of the year as well, expect big things out of him. Oh, and Chris, like you said, Chris. Yeah. So Chris got clear at the end of the season last year, but we didn't want to waste a year from him. Mm-hmm. So Chris is going to play both safety spots and play some nickel too for us as well.
You've got about a half dozen other guys that at least have been in the program. And obviously with the freshman rule, getting the chance to play 3 games was probably huge for a lot of those guys last year. You've got Kwan Houston, Jaden Bush, Dantes Hicks, Rashad Boyd, Josiah Buford, Torrance Green, and then a veteran, Draven Wilson. You've got quite a group there.
Depth, right? Like you mentioned before, when guys get hurt now, I just know that we got to have depth. Kiwan may be the only guy in that group who did not play last year. But Kiwan is going to be, he's a technician, one of our top guys. Draven has been coming on. He plays both positions. He's just been improving day in, day out since he got here. Dantes Hicks could be our best athlete, right? But he's working at it every day. Josiah Buford, when you see him, 6'4", 205.
Lists the spot.
What is he going to turn into? Great attitude. Jaden Bush. We call him Canada. He's great attitude. He's here every day. So he's coming off of an injury, but he's been completely clear, so he's good. Rashad Boyd played in the last couple games. Big body, 6'2", 205. He's ready to go. And then the last one was Torrance, right? I believe Torrance. So Torrance got hurt in the spring. So Torrance is going to take over the role of being my student assistant this year, right? He'll miss all of 2024, but he'll be my student assistant this year.
Sounds great. Recruiting-wise, you talk about a dozen guys, quite a few at corner, a few guys at safety, Amarian Brownlee, Maximus Edwards, Caleb Jefferson, Dakarian Taylor. It sounds like a pretty good group of incoming guys to push the veterans.
So they're going to be young, right? They can compete, but they're just going to be a little bit younger. I think the world of Amarian, right? I think he's a fantastic athlete. Dakarian is going to bring all the personality. He's a kid from Muskegon, but he's a state champion. Same thing with Caleb Jefferson from Harper Woods. He's a state champion. And then Max Edwards, he comes from a football family. Dad is a football player. Older brother's coming to play quarterback as well. So, the first thing he said when we started talking was, Coach, I know that you're not recruiting a DB from Utah. I was like, who is this? But as we continue to recruit and talk, he's a perfect fit. 6'1", 190. What is he going to turn into?
Right. I think he even played some linebacker maybe his junior year and then moved to safety.
Yep, and the thing is his brother was a quarterback the year before, so he actually, if you check out his receiver highlights from when his brother was the quarterback.
Sounds cool. Interesting high school nickname, the Caveman. That was something that when I was researching, that was rather interesting. You don't see that nickname very often.
It's Utah. It's Utah.
Let's talk about some of the corner recruits. Phil Cato, Amari Holler, Amir Harris, Jasir Rahman, Omari Rotula, DeCarlos White, Joseph Stevens, Cam Coleman. You got quite a group there.
It's a fun group. That's the biggest thing. And these guys are actually meshing very well with our older guys as well. The biggest thing is 2 of our guys just played in the MHSAA? They played in an All-Star game, DeCarlos White and Amir Harris. The first thing as soon as they got done, they started adding clips to our group chat, and some of the older guys were critiquing it. So that was awesome. Jasir and Phil, they both come from UAD. So those guys are already good athletes. and they're good together. So they'll be roommates, and it gives them a chance to grow together. Amari Haller, he was the quarterback at Port Huron.
Okay.
It took we were recruiting him, and then we knew that we really wanted him. If you watched their playoff game, where it took Ty Spence ended up calling us and said, we got to get him at Wayne State. So when we got our alumni associated themselves back with the program saying, we got to get this guy, that was the done deal for us. And then was Omarion Ratuli, New Jersey, right? So he's a New Jersey kid. Coach has a great connection at Lincoln High School. Omarion is going to be one of the strong guys that's going to come in, and he's going to compete from day one.
Sounds great. Obviously, a little young at corner, so you brought in 3 transfers to kind of add some depth and experience there with Clifton Buchanan, Jonathan Tillman, and Shamil Njopi. So what do you expect from those guys coming in as having been around the college game for a few years?
So they're here. 2 out of 3 of those guys are here working every day. So Jonathan Tillman is a local kid from Brother Rice High School. He went to a couple different schools. He's here working. He's going to compete. He's a junior, so we expect for him to come in day 1 of camp. So August 10th, hey, we need you to be a leader. Clifton Buchanan, I've been recruiting Clifton. I recruited Clifton when he was in high school, coming out of Belleville. So we always had a great relationship. And then when he got in the transfer portal, I seen it as our opportunity to bring him back home. He's coming in and stepping in as our players are doing their OTAs amongst themselves. He's actually getting out there leading the drills. And then Shamil Njopi kind of fell into our lap. We were looking for a linebacker, in which we brought in his brother. So we were looking for a linebacker, and then Shamar mentioned his brother. We said, we'll check out his film. Kids from Pennsylvania, played at Lackawanna, then he played at Hudson Valley. 5 interceptions, so...
A little bit of a ball hawk?
Oh, he's big. He's big. He's way bigger. When he came up, he was like 6'1". I put him on a scale, 6'1", 190 as a junior. He's got 2 years. Let's go.
And then at safety, you also brought in Caleb Colvin. So you had a quartet of transfers coming in the secondary.
So with Caleb will be a flex player. He'll play some nickel, play some safety. He was actually one of Coach Wheatley's former players. So that was the icing on the cake as to, hey, Coach, call Caleb in. Let's get Caleb here. But he's a local guy. Get local guys back at home. So I think that was fantastic.
Well, sounds like you're going to have an interesting camp with meshing the new guys with veterans, and quite a spirited camp to see who's going to get on the bus to go to Tiffin.
September 5th. September 5th.
Sounds great. Well, thanks again for watching this edition of Get to Know Your Wayne State Football Program.